Hello, I'm Darren Magee, and today's topic continues on from many questions I've had around trauma bonding. Today I'm going to be looking at the stages of trauma bonding, or how it happens. So just as a recap from last time, trauma bonding is often a loyalty to or a dependency on someone who is abusive and destructive in a relationship. Now, it's usually a relationship where there is an unhealthy power balance that is being exploited. And it's usually through a pattern of both positive and negative reinforcement. Now, sometimes it can happen quite quickly, but usually it's formed over time in a very insidious way. A way that quite slowly and a piece at a time reshapes how someone perceives themselves, perceives the relationship. And they may even well know that that person is bad for them, they're bad to them, and they are indeed very unhappy, but they find it very difficult to leave for a myriad of reasons. So as always, if you like this video, if you find it interesting or helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. But just to remind you, this video is for information purposes only and is not a substitute for support from a mental health professional. So there are 7 stages of trauma bonding. Now, some of these may run in stages, some may run concurrently. But the first one is what's commonly known as the love bombing stage. Now, it's during this stage that someone is showered with love and affection, passion, fun, gifts, surprises. Both people in that relationship may love the same things, they laugh at the same jokes. And it's during that stage that you might feel heard, appreciated, supported, and safe. The connection between the two of you feels so deep and intense. Now, in some cases, you may have someone who is suffering from a past trauma or emotional or financial difficulties or whatever. The other person appears they're like the knight in shining armor, or they're like Florence Nightingale. They're there to support, they're there to help, they're there to rescue. And they treat you like you are the best thing that ever happened to them. Now, this is a lot of the positive reinforcement. The second stage, now that's about gaining trust, but also creating a dependency. So they may be very kind, courteous, respectful, loving, supportive, and thoughtful. You trust them. They've got your back. They are on your side. Now, I would like to say at this point that all of us, each and every one of us, at some level, hardwired deep into our very core, we all have this need to feel significant to somebody. Now, whenever we feel significant to someone who is very significant to us, oh my goodness, the world is a lovely place. So during this stage, what they're doing is they're doing things that the other person feels significant to them, and they become very significant to that person. As I say, you can rely on them. You feel loved, you feel validated, you feel special, and they have been providing this all along. They've been providing it in full supply. It feels safe to be able to depend on them for it. Again, building on that positive reinforcement. Now, stage 3 is where we often start to see a shift. Now, a shift to criticism. And it's often a little bit at a time. So it could be a joke with a jag, it could be a little bit of sarcasm, getting upset if maybe you want to do something or go somewhere that doesn't include them. Each time what they're really doing is testing how far they can go, but also finding a way to see if they can take that further next time. And over time, it becomes pervasive. You might find yourself being blamed for how they feel about things. They become more demanding. Now, the love is now becoming conditional. It is no longer unconditional. But those conditions are only going one way, because you might find that your conditions, your needs, they are selfish and they are unreasonable. You might stop seeing your friends, you might stop seeing your family because they get upset if you spend any time with them. They usually find a way that those people hate them somehow or make them feel uncomfortable. So you start withdrawing more and more. You might even end up giving up your job or something. So what really happens is your relationships with others are changing, but even your behavior is beginning to change. You're trying to mitigate how they feel, and this is, if you will, this is the negative reinforcement. Stage 4 is the manipulation, now commonly referred to as gaslighting. So what you might find is your sense of reality, normality is being constantly challenged. You're criticized and your whole narrative is being rewritten. And over periods of time, you're doubting your own thoughts, your own reactions, Am I being too hard and abusive just by saying no? Is there something wrong with me for feeling angry at this? Am I the narcissist here? One way or another, you're being constantly invalidated. You are the reason why the relationship isn't working, and you are the reason why you're both unhappy. The fifth stage is feeling a loss of control, a loss of agency, when all your normal methods of communicating, problem solving, managing difficult situations, they are getting you nowhere. You're constantly being lied to, blamed, criticized, and no matter what you try to do to fix things, it doesn't work. Nothing changes the abuse, nothing changes their behavior. It's quite often at that stage when someone's trauma bonded, it's quite often at that stage when people will do whatever they can to try to get back to stage one, which leads to stage six, a loss of autonomy, power and control, and a loss of self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth. All of these things begin to deteriorate. Now, more often than not, whenever we say things like self-esteem, self-confidence, and so on, I think it's not so much what I think of me, it's what others think of me. So if you're in a situation where, if you will, the main person in your life is continually telling you, showing you even how stupid you are, how useless you are, how selfish you are, no wonder your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-confidence is going to begin to deteriorate. Now, other people, friends, family, they may see changes in you. They may even express your concerns. But what often happens, as I mentioned in the previous video, there can be fear, there can be shame, the power imbalance, there could be financial abuse taking place or whatever. But one way or another, it is being exploited. And what sometimes happens is the person stays, they are making light of it, or they're making excuses for their abuser. Lastly, stage 7. Now, it becomes like an emotional addiction. Now, someone in a trauma-bonded relationship is, more often than not, they're like constantly running on stress, anxiety, depression, internalized anger, always craving for some kind of relief, some kind of pleasure, love, affection, always hoping that that next little crumb of attention, affection, levity, this time it will be better, this time it will be forever, but it never is. And always trying to manage, survive the lows in order to try and even get a little bit of a small high. And that high isn't always necessarily joy and pleasure and love. Sometimes it's just the absence of the neglect and the abuse. Now, that being said, I said this in the previous video, and you know what? I'll keep on saying this. Being trauma bonded by no means, by no stretch of the imagination, does it make someone weak. It makes them dependent for a wide range of different reasons. And remember, it has been an insidious process. It has been a little piece at a time. So that abusive person, they may have accumulated a lot of debt. So maybe accumulated that debt in the other person's name, so they can't leave. The abuser may threaten to harm themselves or someone else if they were to leave. Even if that relationship has ended, if there's been a separation, now they may have custody of the children. So the other person has to put up with a lot of crap just to be able to get access to their own children. Now that could be being kept late, that could be plans changing, being cancelled at the last moment. But they know that if they speak up, if they complain, if they do something, the children may suffer for it. They may be punished for it. Either that, or they may not get access to their kids at all. Like I said, remember, there is a power imbalance and it is being exploited. So that's a brief outline of the 7 stages of trauma bonding. Now, if you find yourself in a relationship like that, I would invite you to think about maybe speaking to someone, trying to get a bit of help. Speak to a counsellor, a therapist, or speak to an organisation that might be able to advise you practically. I will put the links to some organisations in the description of this video that I hope you find helpful. But until next time, thanks for watching.